We are now moving on from multi-choice, and we are now using our PEEZ paragraph format to answer the questions. So we're going to take a little bit longer with these ones. Could I have, please, Divine, to read?
She opened the door of the room and went into the corridor, and then she began her wanderings. It was a long corridor, and it branched into other corridors, and it led her up short flights of steps, which mounted to others again. There were doors, and there were pictures on the walls. Sometimes they were pictures of dark, curious landscapes, but oftenest there were portraits of men and women in clay, grand costumes made of satin and velvet. She found herself in one long gallery whose walls were covered with these portraits. She had never thought there could be so many in any house. She walked slowly down this place and started and stared at the faces, which also seemed to stare at her. She felt as if they were wondering what a little girl from India was doing in their house. And some were pictures of children, little girls in thick satin frocks, which reached to their feet and stood about them, and boys with puffed sleeves and lace collars and long hair or with big ruffs around their necks. She always stopped to look at the children and wonder what their names were, and where they had gone, and why they wore such odd clothes. There were there was a stiff, plain little girl, rather like herself. She wore a green brocade dress and held a green parrot on her finger. Her eyes had a sharp, curious look.
Thank you very much. So the question is, how does the writer create a sense of mystery? And we're going to, for the sake of argument, we're going to say that this question is worth 4 marks, which suggests that we need to include 2 points, 2 pieces of evidence, 2 explanation, and zooming in, which is what P's stands for. So 2 paragraphs, 2 P's paragraphs, 1 paragraph with 1 point, evidence to back up that point, and full zooming in explanation of how this is creating a sense of mystery, and then another one to achieve the full 4 marks. So I'm going to give you all a real good 5 minutes minimum for this one. Okay, you can type your answer in the chat or write it down. It's up to you. Some very good answers there. So we've got it branched into other corridors. That's a really interesting phrase there. It branched, the verb form there. It suggests that it's almost alive there, isn't it? So we've got somewhat of personification. There were doors and doors. It shows that it's like a maze. The repetition shows this sense of mystery and perhaps confusion as well. Sometimes there were pictures of dark, curious landscapes, an interesting choice of dark, curious of our adjectives here. Again, they fit in with this air of mystery, something dark and curious. A long gallery. So we've got the adjective choice, which all add to this sense of mystery. And we've also got the faces which seem to stare at her. Sounds quite sinister as well. I'm just looking what other people have put. Yeah, so that's a good one. The author creates a mysterious atmosphere by telling us that there are doors and doors, which is trying to intrigue the reader as if the doors never end. Yeah, good analysis there. Very good. And the fact that she walked slowly and stared at the faces, which also seemed to stare at her. This gives a feeling that the portraits are alive and the girls want to know about them. The girl wants to know about them. The questions are intended to intrigue the reader, what their names were, etc., about who the people were. Good. We've got a point there, and really the analysis is where you're getting the marks here. Okay, so you had 2 points, 2 pieces of evidence, 2 full analysis in terms of your explanation there. Well done. Okay, so our class hasn't ended, so I'm not sure where that message came from. I didn't see a message there, so I'm not sure. Okay, we're going to have a look at another extract. Could I have Abby to read, please?
She looked at the key quite a long time. She turned it over and over and thought about it. As I have said before, she was not a child who had been trained to ask permission or consult her elders about things. All she thought about the key was that if it was the key to the closed garden and she could find out where the door was, she could perhaps open it and see what was inside the walls and what had happened to the old rose trees. It was because it had been shut up for so long that she wanted to see it. It seemed as if it must be different from other places and that something strange must have happened to it during 10 years. Besides that, if she liked it, she could go into it every day and shut the door behind her, and she could make up some play on her own and play it quite alone, because nobody would ever know where she was, but would think the door was still locked and the key buried in the earth. The thought of that pleased her very much. Living, as it were, all by herself in a house with 100 mysteriously closed rooms and having nothing whatever to do to amuse herself, had set her inactive brain to working and was actually awakening her imagination. There was no doubt that the fresh, strong, pure air from the moor had a great deal to do with it. Just as it had given her an appetite, and fighting with the wind had stirred her blood, so the same things have stirred her mind. In India, she had always been too hot and languid and weak to care much about anything. But in this place, she was beginning to care and want to do new things. Already, she felt less contrary, though she did not know.
Thank you very much. So how would you characterize the protagonist? So basically, how would you describe the character of this person here? So we've got, again, we're going to say this is worth 4 marks. So I'm going to give you about 7 minutes for this one. Remember, your analysis is the most important part. So 2 PEEZ paragraphs. Okay, so quite a lot of you have said she's curious. Yep, she looked at the key quite a long time. She's quite inquisitive. She pays a lot attention to detail. She thinks a lot. We do find out that she wasn't a child who'd been trained to ask permission or consult. So she's quite impetuous, which means that she does things on her own kind of inspiration. She's really, really inquisitive. She thinks a lot about what perhaps this key could help her do. And the idea of playing as well. She's really inspired by this. She felt less contrary. So we know that being in this place has changed her personality. She'd usually been too hot and languid, weak to care about anything when she was in India. But I think something about the place has given her this energy and this inquisitiveness, curiousness. Yes, this is from The Secret Garden. Well done.